Boys Season 3 was quite possibly the peak of the show, the golden standard of what the show should be. Homelander was more unstoppable than ever. Butcher was willing to do anything to win. Soldier Boy was this wild card that was willing to do anything to defeat Homelander. But what happened? How did this finale of this season ruin the show? For once, it finally felt like Homelander was about to lose. Everything was building towards this massive payoff of Homelander finally being defeated, Butcher getting his revenge, Soldier Boy taking over the world as we know. But then, the finale happened, and instead of the story pushing forward, we saw it just take a reset. Everything that happened that season was essentially pointless. What should have been a massive shift in who's in charge of the show turned into this weird power scaling and this weird ending. What should have led to the switching of villains of the show changed into weird character decisions, power scaling that didn't make much sense, and just completely avoiding any major consequences in the show. Let's talk about how this ending fundamentally ruined the show. First off, we gotta talk about how Soldier Boy was built up to be this big weapon, this final boss of the show, then was just wasted out of nowhere. He was seen as the only weapon to defeat Homelander. They even said it, Queen Maeve said it, he was the weapon to defeat Homelander. This created a massive tension. We saw Homelander finally scared. For the first time, Homelander seemed like he might lose. And that's what made this season so special. It finally felt like the boys had a chance to win. But instead of fully committing to that conflict, the finale just decides to switch it up. Butcher, who had spent his whole almost adult life trying to destroy Homelander, all of a sudden turns against Soldier Boy when it is right there to defeat him. Literally, Soldier Boy says it.
So this is it. Everything you wanted, he's right fucking there. And now you blink, stand down.
Yes, it was good. Butcher was trying to protect Ryan, but do we know that Soldier Boy was really going to kill Ryan? We see now in this new season that he cares about his family. And while Butcher protecting him makes sense, it felt like his entire mission the whole show was just all of a sudden dumped just so he could save a kid that we had barely seen on screen that much. This finale should have been the build-up of all the 3 seasons we had seen so far. We had finally seen Homelander about to lose everything the fans wanted to see, and yet it was just set to preserve Homelander for future seasons and give the show a little bit more runtime. Unfortunately, this set the standard that Homelander was going to live throughout this show. He wasn't going to die, and if he was, it was going to be at the finale. We set that standard by not killing him when it made the most sense to do it. The whole season was built up on them finally being able to do it, and it made sense in the context of the show. The writing made sense, the characters' powers made sense, and they just didn't do it. Everything just remains the same. He pretty much is just like, yeah, Soldier Boy tried to get me. He didn't succeed. We won. This is a pattern throughout the show where it gives us this major chance of major change in the show, that there's going to be a shift and then it just shuts it down so they can preserve the characters that have been in the show from the beginning. While this doesn't hurt to do a few times, it lowers the stakes overall as you go throughout the show, because are main characters really going to die throughout the show? We don't know. I'm sure most of you can agree throughout Season 4 and 5, knowing Homelander probably isn't going to lose until the finale has made it a lot more interesting, as pretty much all the tension has disappeared. This should have been a big moment in the show where Homelander finally goes out, and then we see Soldier Boy take over as the main villain, if they want to continue on with that story. Then you have MM, who's driven to take down Soldier Boy. I mean, it just makes sense. Soldier Boy killed his family. It makes sense in the context of the show. And instead of doing that, we saw this finale that just made it so safe and made it so predictable for what the rest of the show was going to be. But we did see Queen Maeve and Soldier Boy die. Oh wait, another big issue I have with the finale is Ryan. He becomes this big central of the conflict and is this big massive piece of the story that he was really never in. He felt more like character protection and giving narrative shield to certain characters. Plus him being in it just made characters make such weird decisions, such as Butcher, which we had seen, like I said, he wanted to kill Homelander the whole show, and then just boom, not anymore. Instead of enhancing to the finale of the show, it felt like his role was more engineered to make sure no crazy changes happened, and we got Season 4 to stay the same as what Season 3 was. At least in terms of what characters were in it. I mean, the quality was definitely lessened. So the real reason I think this ruined the show is, like I mentioned earlier, it set the standard of what the rest of the show was going to be, which was really predictable. By keeping every character alive in the finale, we kind of just knew that that was how the show was going to go until the finale, where it's all of a sudden okay to kill characters off. The show wasn't ruined by action. The show wasn't ruined by bad writing. It was ruined by a predictable story. Not to mention that they just wanted to keep the same characters alive. By abandoning the payoff we had set up the whole season and throughout the show had just kind of lost a little bit of its stakes and felt a lot more like, what are we doing? I think a lot of fans agree that this was kind of the turning point of the show, and that's why the lasting damage is still seen to this day. We have proof that this is true. Seasons 4 and 5, even though 5's not done yet, people have not liked it nearly as much. It just shows that this finale really set up the show for failure. But let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you agree or disagree in the comments. We're a newer channel, so if you enjoy the content, make sure to watch my other videos, see if you like it, then consider subscribing. If you like this video, make sure to leave a like, leave a comment if you agree or disagree. I'll see you next time.